Well, I'm out on the Blue Revolt today, and I'm going to try and go slowly. Let's see how well that goes, because I have this competitive streak in me. And I was just wondering, is it the same for everyone, or is it just me? I went out a couple of days ago and did my longest ride so far. Well, when I say my longest ride, I mean since I came back to cycling. I used to race between 80 and 100 miles, and that was many years ago. More than 30 years ago. In fact, I'm probably being quite generous to myself even saying 30. And when I say 30 years off the bike since I stopped racing, I mean 30 years of unhealthy living, to the point that I was so unfit, so unhealthy. I mean, I've mentioned this before in previous videos. And my first ride was 1.5 miles. That's all I could do. And I built it up. And day by day I increased the distance and just generally building up a bit of fitness. And eventually I got to 20 miles. That's kind of where I stayed, 20 to 25 miles a day. And a lot of that I've mentioned in previous videos as well is due to time. And I know the numbers I talk about will make some of you laugh. I know some people do 25 miles as a warm-up for their proper ride. But for a 60-year-old fat bloke, I didn't think it was too bad. And then my brother, who's 2 years older than me, decided to buy a bike. And I was a little bit surprised, considering he hasn't ridden a bike since he left school. I mean, he's always been a bit, in the last few years anyway, after my racing days, he's always been a bit fitter than me. Never smoked, never drank. But even so, he went out and got a bike. And it is an e-bike, so I accepted his progress. It was a little bit faster than mine. But when he went out the other day and did a 28-mile ride, and my first thought was, challenge accepted. So I went out a couple of days ago and did a 30-mile ride. Because I've always told myself, 20 to 25 is because of time constraints. My wife and I like to do things together. So, I want to be home within 2 hours normally. Told myself, that's fine, he can do 28 miles. I could do 30 miles if I wanted to. It's just time, that's the reason I don't do it. But then the other voice in my head said, oh yeah, can you do 30? Do you know that? Best come and show me then. So I set off and I did 30 miles. And most of the rides that I do, I average between 12.5 and 14.5 miles an hour. So to do that ride, 30 miles at an average of 14 miles an hour, I thought was reasonably good. Because not only did I do my longest distance, I did my fastest 40k, and I did the most climbing I've done in a single ride. So I was quite impressed with that, and I was feeling quite smug. So I went out yesterday, and I did 23 miles yesterday. But after I'd been going for about 19 miles, I looked down and my average speed was 15.4 miles an hour. And there's an uphill going home, so I knew I was going to lose a bit. I thought, wow, is this going to be the first time I average 15 miles an hour on a ride? So I pushed harder to try and achieve that. And even now I'm frustrated because this car in front of me is annoying me, because I am actually faster than him. And he has to keep slowing down for the bumps. And he's forced his way ahead because he's in a car and he feels he has to be ahead of the cyclist. And when I got back, I'd done 15.1 average speed over 23 miles. So I was quite happy with that. But it got me thinking, why do we all do it? I'd like to know in the comments. Is it just me to always chasing longer, faster, bigger hills? And why do I do it? Because I think to myself, you can't keep pushing yourself to the limit. You can't keep breaking records every ride. Is it just because I used to race bikes? Or does everybody do that? I don't know. And even while I was out on my long ride, somebody passed me like I was standing still, and then I felt all deflated. And I'm always comparing myself to other people. My son does triathlons, and when I look at his Strava, and he does like 80 miles and an average speed of 17 miles an hour, and I think, wow, I'm nowhere near that. And then my wife reminds me that he's significantly younger than me. He's on a high-end aero bike. I'm on a gravel bike with gravel tyres. Another time, a few days ago, a group of guys passed me, obviously out on their group ride. But I didn't just let them go. I thought, no, I'll go with them. See if I can stay with them. And I did. And the thing is, about all of this competitiveness, is no one else cares. I go out on a mountain bike from time to time, and I average about 10 miles an hour. And nobody on Strava puts up a laughing face emoji and goes, huh, call yourself a cyclist? And nobody comments and says, gosh, why are you so slow today? Nobody cares. It's all in my head. So I'd like to know, is it just human nature? Does everybody do the same as me? As soon as people learned to walk, they started racing each other. First time they picked up a stone, they tried to throw it further than anyone else. They've got the Olympic Games on at the moment, and that's what that's all about. Any activity you can think of turned into a competition. People from all over the world coming to show you they're the best at it. And then on top of that, a competition of nation against nation. Who will get the most medals? Which nation's athlete will hold the world record? And I suppose it's all of that pushing the boundaries that has led to man's progress, which some might say has been a negative thing. We look around the world, and the rich hate the poor, and go around killing each other in wars, social media breaking down society. Still, this video isn't about politics or social conscience, so I'm really interested. How do other people feel about this? Does everybody have this need to compete? Or was it the fact that that characteristic is in me was the reason I raced bikes in my younger days? It's about cycling and competitiveness, and whether competitiveness is a good thing or a bad thing. And I suppose if you're enjoying your riding, it's a good thing. If the competitive gets to a point, or the competitiveness gets to a point, and you're not enjoying it anymore, then it's a bad thing.